Welcome to Dogs vs. All Y'all, a weekly college football podcast where we discuss not only my favorite team, the Georgia Bulldogs, but we talk all things college football, hence all y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and look us up on Instagram at SuplexDinnerClub. And go Dogs. Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm going to update our hunting season 12 so you know who are the 12 best teams in the country. And of course, we got to talk Ole Miss, Georgia. It's going down the top 10 matchup. Let's get it. After a weekend of some highly competitive games, heartbreaking losses for some, while victorious wins for others. You know what time it is. It's Monday. Let's get to the list.
We ain't getting hunted, guys. We're doing the hunting, and hunting season's almost over. We only got one more chance to hunt, and we hunted tonight.
All right, new addition to the hunting season 12. I can't deny this team anymore. The Louisville Cardinals. We're not talking enough about this team. They're a one-loss ACC team with some quality wins. I know most of y'all don't watch ACC football, but they're still alive and still fighting. They should take care of business this upcoming weekend against Virginia, and then they have a big matchup against Miami, who's still trying to figure themselves out. What's going to happen when a one-loss Louisville team potentially faces an undefeated Florida State team in the ACC title game? Those of you who remember last year, Louisville gave that team hell, so I'm not calling it an upset, but I'm saying, hey, let's get our eye on what Coach Brom and those guys are doing there in Louisville. Number 11 is going to be Oregon State. They took care of business with Colorado. I'm not going to really talk too much about the Oregon State game. Know that they're a highly competitive team, and they have a matchup against the Ducks. Number 10 is going to be Penn State, followed by number 9, Mississippi. I'm not really going to talk too much about Mississippi in this segment, but we're going to definitely preview them for their upcoming game against Georgia. Number 8 is going to be Alabama. I know a lot of you, yes, I'm looking at you, counted out Alabama. While I said, hey, they're still one of the best teams in the country. They're still one of the most talented teams in the country. And when you have the GOAT on the sideline, it's really hard to count them out. Salute to them for their victory. Their dominating win, frankly, against an LSU team. Number 7 is going to be Texas. They were in a dogfight against Kansas State. They didn't put them away like they should have. But, hey, you got a backup quarterback in Malik Murphy who's very talented. Is Quinn Ewers going to be back this week, next week? What's going on over there? Texas fans, you know I'm pulling for you. Texas is one of my playoff teams. Can Malik Murphy keep this thing going? So number 6 are going to be the Oregon Ducks. They moved up. Another dominating win. They're scoring points. They're looking good. They're looking confident. This team looks very focused on running it back with Washington. Just like I said, the Ducks are another one of those teams that I picked for the playoffs before the season. I believe. Y'all know. All right, number 5 is going to be Washington. Washington had a battle on his hands against USC. Unfortunately for the Trojans, they forgot to bring a defense, but that's been all season. Washington wins. Washington is undefeated, and they have some big battles, including a matchup against Utah, which may be interesting. And finally, our top 4 teams. Number 4, Ohio State, who had a battle on his hands against Rutgers. Hey, you got to give Rutgers props and credit for going out there and competing. Number 3 is going to be Florida State, who has a massive matchup coming up this weekend against a hated rival. Number 2 is going to be Georgia, and number 1 is going to be Michigan. The only thing you can do is play your schedule, and if you're really good, dominate your schedule, and Michigan's doing that. Michigan's your number 1 team in the hunting season 12. Y'all let me know down below how many teams are going to finish the regular season undefeated. If you haven't already, look us up on socials at SuplexDinnerClub. That's the home of 2 podcast projects that I work on. Mondays, Fridays, we talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all. We don't just talk about Georgia football. We talk about all things college football, hence All Y'all. And on Wednesdays, you know the vibes, Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met through my years in the hospitality industry. Let me know down below, what team are you representing? The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I want to know more about you guys. Coach Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss traveled to Athens this weekend to face the two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. I know College Game Day is going to be here this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a buzz all weekend. One thing about Lane Kiffin is that leading into games, he makes things very, very interesting. He's an exceptional troll, and it should be saluted. Any and every opportunity that we can give Lane Kiffin props about his online game, we gotta give it. All that aside, let's talk about this Ole Miss team. I was high on Ole Miss last year. I thought that they were gonna make a run. I saw the talent. I saw the vision. Maybe I was a year early on my expectations of Ole Miss. This year, they're a one-loss team. That one loss being against Alabama. And obviously, if Ole Miss loses this weekend, that means Alabama's representing the SEC West in the SEC Championship. And I'll have it no other way. I can't wait. This is the most talented team that Georgia's going to face in the regular season. You look over there at Ole Miss and what Lane Kiffin has put together, whether it's through recruiting, transfer portal, just him being him, he's put together a very talented and competitive team. The number one guy to talk about is their star running back, Quinshon Judkins. He has nice size, he's explosive, and the biggest factor with that guy, he's extremely patient. He makes big plays off of how patient he is. A lot of backs don't have that. The great ones, they definitely do. And he has a very talented back. He started the season a little rough because he was banged up, but you can tell he's getting a little more confident, more healthy. He's a problem, man. He's a damn problem. I'm not going to say if he was healthy against Alabama, they would have beat them, but I don't know. He's an extremely gifted back, and Georgia has a challenge on his hands with him for sure. It's something about quarterback Jackson Dart. You can tell he's talented. You can obviously see why coming out of high school he was highly recruited. He looks the part. He can make the throws. He's athletic enough. On the outside, if you're just based on highlights, the guy looks like he's a future first-round pick. But when you start watching the games in full, like you should, and you start looking at the film when it comes to his decision-making and his play overall, it's very sporadic. He's a hot and cold type player. And I've seen that personally with guys in the past, but I can understand why he's pretty polarizing with Ole Miss fans, at least the ones that I talk to. He can put up a big game for you, but also he can lose you a couple games too. I like what they do with him, as in moving him around the pocket, but also I love the fact that he's not afraid to pull the ball down and run and get his. So shout out to him. Another piece on their offense that I love are two of their wide receivers, Harris and Wade. Both are very talented options at receiver, but very different as well. Harris is a bigger physical wide receiver. He's a throw the ball up, I got it, coach type guy. You look at him, he looks like a bodybuilder. He's the style of a receiver maybe 10, 15 years ago. He would be playing a different position, maybe like a linebacker or something. I see a lot of people say that about guys like DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown in particular. I'm not saying that he's in the same class as those two guys. He's physical. He loves contact. He's talented enough where he has speed. He can get downfield. I've watched Ole Miss all season. He's definitely stood out on film. Expect some shots from Ole Miss with him. Also, shout out Dayton Wade. Very talented receiver. He's smaller, but he's fast, shifty. Definitely a big play waiting to happen. I low-key forgot he transferred to Ole Miss until like a couple weeks in the season. So shout out to him. He's very talented. Another great weapon for Jackson Dart. So what's the pathway for Ole Miss to beat Georgia? Number one, on the defensive side, get pressure on Carson Beck. We've been seeing teams all season try to get in Carson's face. They've been committed to blitzing, putting pressure on him, challenging him. It's only been legit like 2 teams to really get pressure on him. Most recently, Mizzou. They got 3 sacks. They had pressure. They rushed him on some passes, had him uncomfortable. But for the most part, that Georgia offensive line has been holding it down and protecting Carson. This is in spite of the fact that Amarius Mims has been out, although he's been practicing, and it sounds like he's going to be back pretty soon. So hopefully he's back very soon. And you have a number of first-time starters out there. Shout out Dylan Fairchild. He's been doing his thing. Micah Morris has been getting in rotation. Very talented guy. Ernest Green Jr., he's a first-year starter. He's doing his thing also. Get pressure on Carson. Get him out of rhythm. Force him into some throws that he's not confident in. And you got a shot at a turnover. Another key, stay consistent on running the ball. You're not going to always get big splash plays running the ball against that defense, which can be very frustrating for your player as well as you as a play caller. But you got to stick with it. You got to be as balanced as possible to keep Georgia's defense guessing. Once they're not guessing and they know what you're doing, that's a problem. That's a problem for your offense. That's a problem for your quarterback especially. Another key, every now and then, you got to take those big shots. The key is keep Georgia's defense as honest as possible. Keep them as honest as possible and keep them guessing. Dalen Everett's been getting picked on all season. That's understandable because on the other side, you got Kamari Lassiter, who's been a really solid football player. Last week in particular, Luther Burden got off on him. Luther is different. He's an NFL wide receiver star. But they took shots with him. If you're Ole Miss, you're going to have to take those shots. You got to move Trey around. Don't just stick him on one side. Move him around in different positions and take a shot here or there. Throw up that 50-50 ball like you've been doing with him. I'm not going to go into large detail about Georgia's positions and all of that stuff because if you listen to the podcast, you know what's going on because I talk about it every week. So I'm going to give you the duo, the 2 guys that are key to Georgia's victory this weekend. Linebacker Jalen Walker and freshman Damon Wilson. Both of these guys are extremely talented in a position that's very much so needed on this defense, which is edge rusher, outside linebacker, jack, whatever you want to call it. They're on the edge and they're rushing the passer when given the green light. Jalen's been our most consistent pass rusher all season, and I'm extremely glad to see that we're seeing more of him, not just on third down pass rush opportunities. We're seeing him on first down and second down in spots, whether it's on the inside or on the outside. We got him out there. That's a great thing because he's an extremely talented player, extremely valuable on special teams, and I gotta definitely say, shout out to him for that. I'm looking for him to lead the way on the edge, get pressure on that quarterback. And the reason why I highlight Damon Wilson also, he's way too talented to be denied. One thing about Kirby when it comes to freshmen, no matter the stars or any of that stuff, he's not going to put you out there until he feels as though you're ready. You look at that Georgia roster up and down, you see a whole bunch of 4- and 5-star kids, a lot of hype and all of that. But you better believe a number of those guys don't sniff that field because Kirby doesn't feel as though they're ready. Back when Jordan Davis was a freshman, we didn't see him until Florida game. We all knew we had a 6'6", 350, 360-pound defensive tackle. We all knew that. We knew that when we signed him. We knew come fall practice, we saw him. We saw this massive human being, and we were wondering where the hell is he? It wasn't until the Florida game, midway through the season, that there it is. Number 99 is on the field. The reason why he was on that field was because he understood what was needed and he earned that playing time. And I see the same things for number 35. There's absolutely no denying his physical gifts and talents. It was all about, hey, do you understand what's going on out here? Do you understand your responsibilities or what we expect of you? He's obviously doing his thing in practice. to have been earning playing time past couple weeks. And I expect moving forward, we see a lot more of 35 on the edge, which is absolutely welcome. This is going to be a fun game. On one side, you got an undefeated Georgia team that's trying to take care of business, going week by week, and hopefully getting to the SEC championship and trying to get to the playoff. And on the other side, you got an Ole Miss team that even though they lost to Alabama, they can still mess some things up for some teams. And Georgia's on that list. When it's a big-time game going on, Kirby Smart knows how to unlock certain things, whether that's a couple players or, hell, the entire fan base. Kirby knows how to unlock when it's a big-time game. And ladies and gentlemen, this weekend, it's a big-time game. You better believe Kirby's about to unlock something. The stadium's going to be rocking. The players are going to be hyped. Because if you win this weekend, you represent the East in the SEC championship, and you're one step closer to earning that third straight national championship. I think it's going to be a tight one in the first half. Second half, I think talent starts to prevail and separate itself. So I have Ole Miss 27, Georgia 44. Ole Miss is going to apply plenty of pressure on Carson this weekend. I have no doubt about that. One thing about Pete Golden, he dials up pressure. He dials up blitzes. He tries to get your quarterback in unfavorable positions. I have no doubt that they're going to try to do that. But Carson's been getting more and more confident. He's one of the best processors in the SEC conference. And I think he has a big game against Ole Miss. He's going to take advantage of that over-aggressive defense, make some big plays, score some touchdowns, and lead his team to victory. That's another win for the good guys. And on to Rocky Top. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on episode 33. Thank you again for checking us out. Come back on Friday. We have our monthly college football roundtable. I've invited two of my friends, fellow college football fans, and we talk about a couple of the hot topics and what's going on, and we predict some games. They're not just Georgia fans. I think you guys will actually like this pairing for sure. Y'all have a wonderful, productive week. Take care of each other. I'll see you on Friday. And as always, go Dogs.
Trust your preparation. No, your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about the fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game. Now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, nobody wants to be cautious. Ain't nobody wants to be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.